And we're rolling. And again, it is October the 26th, 2022. And it's good to see Julie back. And this is our friend Diane. And today we're going to talk about another thing that is happening with the people from the shelters and the people who are on the street. That in a way that it seems that they're getting, well, I guess I'll use a street term because I know street people want to hear this, ripped off with the cell phones. And I'd like to start with possibly Julie. Julie, can you tell me what's happened with your phone? Because a number of things have happened the last 2 days with both you as well, with your phones.
Well, I like every month I always go and pay my bill at Public Mobile. It's in Vanier, and those guys always tell me just to change my number every time, and so they just like to play me all the time, and just to change my chip. And I always tell me, oh, don't worry about it. Let's pay your bill.
And I understand you haven't changed this phone at all.
I never did. No.
No, you've had this phone for quite a while.
Yes, I did.
And every month they insist on you changing your number every month.
Every month, yeah.
Okay. And so this is, I find interesting when even though you have requested you want the same phone number.
Yes, I always want the same phone number, but they always fight with me, and just to change every damn month.
Okay. Now, can you verify this too, Diane? Because
yes, I know a little bit more about the cell. What's it called? The one in
Public.
Public.
Public
Because there's 3 of them, right? But Public Mobile is my first experience. Like she said, not only do they do that to you, but they also steal your gig. Like you have a slot to get extra. What do you call them? What do you call it? RAM. The chip RAM. So you have 32 gigs of RAM. I had extra. When he's opening my phone and he's looking at it and this, he steals my RAM. Doesn't tell me. Puts it in his back room. All my art and all my business stuff was on there, and then they threw me out. And when I tried to call the police, they locked the doors on me. And not to mention, I just remembered what happened when I got there, when I first went there. It was 5 o'clock in the afternoon. There was an elderly lady waiting outside, and the business was closed. And nobody was answering the door or the phone. I kept calling because her phone was broken. I was calling. Nobody answers. I'm like, well, that's weird. It's the middle of the day. Well, out walks, finally a guy answers, says, yeah, what? And I'm like, well, are you not open? I said, I want to get my phone done and stuff. He goes, hang on a sec. What's he doing in the back room? He's got himself a prostitute that he's closed the shop for. And like I said, he took my pictures, which were they weren't for any man to see. They were for my business and stuff like that, but they weren't like showing. But they were just my pictures, of myself and whatever, and my stuff, and they stole it from me and then denied it. And then because they were chatter, don't they?
Yes, they do.
They're all combined. But yes. And the same thing happened. They, again, were messing around. They're not the only ones messing around with the phone numbers and making you go from freedom to Kudo. And changing the phone number. And then I had money on the phone number. I still had $10 credit because I paid $16 instead of $50. He said, don't worry about it. You'll get it back on your new one at the end of the month. Well, it didn't come. And when I went to go ask him for the $10, he told me to get the fuck out of here, you cheap bitch. And that was the very first time I saw them. But there's more than that too, but yeah.
Well, I noticed one thing that because I now have 2 phone numbers on you, because when you got it stolen there last week, Diane, I was after I kept trying to reach your phone number, the phone number that would be on it, and it just kept going to your answering machine, and then when I tried it there yesterday, it was ringing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was ringing. So.
Well, I'll tell you. I went in there.
But so I just left a brief message for you just to call me.
Oh, yeah.
On when I called there. Now I haven't tried calling back, but I will try again later to see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you. And I went in there because my phone was stolen, and I still had over 2 weeks left on my plan for that month. I had paid for it. I had still gigs and whatever, And I said, if they want to steal my phone, I'm turning it off.
Yes.
The SIM and everything. I walked into the one. Well, there's 3 of them, right? So we're talking the cell phone plus the one beside Dollarama. I told them, I walked in there and I said, my phone was stolen. I need you to cancel my car. I don't want it at all. Like, turn it off. He's playing with the calculator and he's playing on his phone looking at pictures. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I said, you don't even know my name. My phone number is 613-875-9220. Don't worry about it, I said. Get the fuck out, he said. I'm like, okay. And that was all with that. So I flipped out and left.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even cancel it.
And he wouldn't even cancel it. That's the phone that was stolen, right?
Yeah. That's why
Okay.
it's working still, because he wouldn't turn it
So who's using that phone right now? Which is
Well,
interesting.
this is the thing. I know what they're doing. I've seen it. They're getting people to steal them. They're giving. It's almost
All
like
the information they give.
Gone in 60 Seconds. Have you ever seen that movie where in the middle of the night they have to steal all these cars, and it's a GPS going ding ding. This is where all the cars are. It's what they do with the phones, because I see these homeless people every month they got to go buy a new phone. Somebody, it's in between their legs, in their pants.
Yes, I know. I've heard that story from the woman myself. She's in the shelter. The phone's right in between her crotch, and somehow they managed to steal it out of her crotch.
Because they have a GPS on them, I believe, like a little tracker.
Yes, they do.
Yes,
Big
they do.
time.
Oh yeah,
Big time.
that's what it looks like to me. I watched it all one day, and I knew it. Yeah, they're scams.
Yeah, and I think they've done the same thing to you. They didn't want to change the number either, but I think this last time you absolutely had to insist that they change the number.
Well, I had to, because so get the new one, right? And again, 1 minute they're telling you, freedom doesn't work anymore. That's the reason they said that they were changing the phone number with Kudo originally, like in August when it was stolen, is because freedom is no longer available. But yet it says freedom on the wall. Is that Kudo took over freedom, so we have to change the phone numbers. And they did that the 3 times that my phones were stolen. And even like I said, and I have to pay for the SIM card all the time.
Yeah, but you've requested to keep the same phone number, even on this last phone?
Well, I requested, because I would go in and pay the bill.
Yeah.
And they're like, this was before the phone was stolen, when I paid my bill. And it's like, well, I have to change your phone number. He says, because, like I said, freedom no longer exists, so now you have to go to Kudo. I'm like, well, then, it says freedom on here. But it's like they're going back and forth. And they're it's still there.
Yeah, and you say I remember you saying something about they have two different phones that they're constantly using, 2 brands of phone?
Yeah, well, it's not the brands, it's the dealers. It's Freedom, which is a provider, and Kudo.
Okay, so they're going...
But I believe because Chatter has something to do with them too, which is Rogers, because when that man, the first time I went, and like this was, 3-4 years ago, and when he stole my pictures, I called the police. I said, I want my pictures back. And he's like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. He has a big bag of people's card things.
Oh, the chips?
He threw me out of the store. I waited there. I called Chatter, because it used to be called Chatter a couple of years ago. And I know that Chatter is the same company as what all these guys are doing. It has something to do with the two. But Chatter told me there's nothing we can do about it. He's a private man. His business is private. I don't know what's going on. But Rogers ended up giving me $200 actually, because I wouldn't let it go. But that was the first time, like I said. But now, like I said, I've noticed, because the one place I refused to go back to the one in Vanier because the way he treated me until we get the fuck out of his store, because he owed me $10. Told me I was a stupid drug addict when I don't do drugs. And he's telling me basically, oh yeah, right, you lost your phone and you sold it. And like they treat us like we're dirt. We're the customer.
Big time, yeah.
But that's when I noticed, because then I went to the one on Rito, thinking, stay away from Vanier, but then I realized they're the same thing. And then just yesterday, I bought a new phone again, but I went to a different dealer. And who walks in the door? His cousin or brother, whatever, from the next place, and he's telling me one of the pieces aren't here, you have to go across the street to that other place. So I'm not going back in there. And then that's when I realized, and again,
So he was insisting that you go into his store to buy...
Well, I think they're brothers, or they're co-owners or something. They're all, that's the same. Those 3 stores, those 3 cell phone places, are all in the lower end of town, right? And they're always Diane and these 2. And they're all doing the same game. It's like a lie every month. And as soon as you notice it, they're so rude. Like, swearing at us, right? Take the fuck out, like we're stupid. And when I asked him to, to cancel my thing, he's pressing on a calculator. Looking at pictures. Yeah, go. Yeah, no problem. Wouldn't take my phone number. Wouldn't take my name. I said, how are you going to cancel it? Don't worry
They're
about
fast.
it.
They're fast players.
Yeah, how do you do that on a calculator?
He didn't care. He didn't care, because you know what? I think, like I said, what's happening is they're paying these drug addicts or whoever to go steal all the phones, and then they get a free phone, or they get money and they go buy drugs with it, because it's the only thing that makes sense. This tracker. Because there's too many people losing their phones, and when they're holding on.
Well, I don't think anybody who's holding a phone in their crotch is wanting to lose a phone.
Well, yeah. You know what though? You would be surprised on the street what they do at night.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, or daytime.
yeah.
They're really fast. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some people maybe that are selling their phones in the midst of their drug habit, and
Yeah, too.
hoping to get another one. I'm sure that happens, but I know myself. I know the people I speak to don't do that. But yet they're always losing their phone, and every month they're back going, "I need a new phone," and they're like, "Oh yeah, here," and I swear, my phone that was stolen was sitting right in the case. And he says, "You're a liar. You don't know what you're talking about. We're busy. Get out, get out."
Yeah, they always harass people. Always.
Yeah.
So, when you pick up your phones and that, so is it just goes month to month, or is there some kind of a contract on it? Or?
Yeah, month to month.
It's month to month.
Month to month.
If you don't pay your bill, your phone turns off.
Okay, so it's month to month, then there's no contract on it. Because I know I pay mine month to month, but it's always straightforward on mine, which do not have any problems
Well,
with.
see,
And
we buy our phones outright. We don't have a plan, right? You own your phone.
Yeah, I own my own phone.
We don't rent the phone. We don't get a free phone because we're getting a plan, like like some people do.
Yeah.
We buy the phone, pay it per month, and that's it. So like me, I have supposed to be 15 gigs, which is crazy, and I was paying 50 plus tax. Now I'm supposed to be getting 17 gigs, but there's another scam in itself, and I pay $60 so because I need to look for a place. I mean, I need to have the internet. But I swear, there's no way I'm using that many gigs. I don't go on. I don't watch movies. I'm never on it except for hear songs. Mm-hmm. A little bit of music.
Same here.
And I'm using 12
So
gigs in 2 weeks.
what's really interesting is because I had to pick up a new cell phone. This is why I'm having so much fun. As you know, I'm not tech savvy, and they had to help on the second video yours because I had messed it up. So I'm using it straight up rather than sideways right now because at least I know it's coming out okay, even though you're a little cut off over there. Sorry, Julie. I'm not trying to chop. I'm not trying to chop your head off
We
deliberately
can
here.
get closer.
Oh, yeah, no problem. But no, I mean because I didn't buy my phone outright. I pay so much for it monthly, and on the bill, and I've never had any trouble at all. And goodness gracious me, I went into the source there because I found out because for what I need on the phone, I got to figure out what a Wi-Fi is, and I'd never run into that, so I've got to get Wi-Fi put in. And so now he's offering me from Bell, I could get it for a little bit cheaper, and including all the stuff together. So the big companies are really competing for the customers here. So I'm quite happy with what I've got right now. So I'm just kind of shopping around. It may take me a little while before I get the Wi-Fi, but I'm just looking around and trying to figure out how to use this phone at the same time.
This is why they're attacking the poor and the homeless,
Yep.
because they know that they can't walk in because they don't have credit. They can't do what you just said you did. They won't unless you have a credit card or you have a driver's license, and most of them don't have these things. So they have to go to places like this. And
Cheapest
that's what
places to get played.
Yeah.
And they manipulate. So that don't they just manipulate people.
Yeah.
So just to get what they want.
And
I sell your phone, a cheap phone for this, for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why you're not hooked up to the internet or anything else. So you've just got a basic phone with the basic thing for $25 a month. So if it's stolen, it's not a major thing. And
No, it's
yours is not the type of phone; it's an older one, so that people don't want the push button phones anymore.
No, they don't want the pushback phone, exactly.
Yeah.
And that,
The flip flop.
the flip flop one. Yeah.
No, they don't want those kind of phones, so
No,
they don't go
get
for
any
that.
money for that.
Yeah, exactly. But they go for the $200 phone or $200 phone or $5.
Well, see, when you have data and you have a slow phone, like because she doesn't have data, it's okay to use a phone like that. But if you want to use the internet and you have an old phone like that, good luck.
Yeah.
Because it's slow. It
Really
doesn't take
slow.
it. So I have to, in order, because I'm never going to find a place. I'd like to keep in contact with my I'm trying to find my grandson, trying to do the things I need to do in house. So I get the better. Like, I mean, I'm not paying no $400 for my phone here. I'm paying $2. That's my limit. But it seems like I said now. Like, I don't even take it out to play music in the street because as soon as somebody sees it, they're going to follow me that night.
Yeah.
There goes another phone.
Yeah. So, but even in the shelters, is there a problem with the phones being stolen?
Every night is the same story.
You're not supposed to take them in the room with you. You're supposed to put them in bins too. And then
Exactly.
everything goes missing in the bin.
Yeah. But
You're
the
not
staff,
supposed to-
they don't care.
Yeah.
I put everything in the bin. That's it. That's all. Your IDs, your phone, and after that, well, Yeah, like everything's gonna be locked.
So in other words, they just lock everything up supposedly, and you're supposed to get your phone back the next morning.
Well, you know what the sad part is that they're always doing different shifts, and what I've seen is that they just it's sort of a free for all. Nobody asked me what my name was when I went in there. I opened up a bin because I said I needed to get a T-shirt. She didn't ask me if I was Diane Tebow. My name was on there. I had to find it. So I can walk in and see a pretty pair of boots in her bin and call it my bin and walk away. So they don't check.
They don't care. They don't care. No. Still, whatever you know, so you guys want here. You know, it is like a free for all here. You know.
They don't respect us. Huh?
No, they don't respect the homeless at all. No, the girls or the guys too. The same problem.
Well, they say you're all a bunch of Jerry Springer wannabes and you're all crazy. You know.
Well, I mean, from what I've seen and heard, even in the prisons, that your stuff is gathered up. It's secured in a plastic bag that you know that it's yours, and then when you leave the prison, you get your stuff back, and generally you get your stuff back. So.
Do you know in these places how many times they mix up the medication?
Oh yeah, at the shelter all the time,
They'll give the wrong person the wrong medication.
Yeah.
You know their medication's gone.
Yeah, their mental health problems and everything get worse. And
yeah.
Oh sorry, I don't know, it's not my problem.
Yeah.
You know,
so they don't have a nurse dispensing the
No.
medication at all?
No.
Not at all.
In the shelter? Oh my goodness.
No.
So, but because I do remember when you and I were in the shelter years ago.
Back then, yeah, they were.
They were because each one had a bag with our name on it. Like.
Yeah.
And
today they don't care up there.
And there's so many changeovers that happen. People quit, they come back. There's different shifts and whatnot. People just don't care, and the staff that's there isn't there to be a doctor, obviously, and they have no idea what they're doing. And I don't even think, the fact is that I've seen women, like, I don't have no pharmaceutical drugs that I take, so I never had a bag of anything there. But some of these women have baggies like this, filled with, like, suffer insulin, mental illness, I mean, whatever. And they just, like, sort of, big piles of it. And they don't, like I said, and many women have told me that they've altered, like, they've given the wrong medication to people because you're not allowed to take them home. They give them to you.
Oh boy, because because when it comes to medication, all medication should be locked up properly. Yeah. I mean, my mom was a registered nurse, so believe me, I also understand that.
Yeah.
That the medications,
they don't care. They just
like the hospital, everything's locked up. So okay, so the medication should be put in one bag for you. It should be locked in a secure place. Each, like a locker for each person who's on medication, should be up and running. So it's almost
with your name on it all the time.
Yeah, with your name on it.
With your name on it.
And the instructions, but it shouldn't be just ordinary people handing out. Yeah, ordinary people.
And
they should have a nurse at the shelter
to make sure she's giving the right medication to the right people, the right amount, so that people don't overdosing and taking the wrong stuff.
So it's not just
in there. That's why.
Yeah.
Yes, but I mean it's bad enough if you've got the regular medication being mixed up. Then you've got some of the regular medication may be getting in with the street drugs. So no wonder that's overdosing too. Mm-hmm. So this is not a good way to do it.
Nothing is good about the way they do anything in these places.
Yeah, they don't care if you die or you're overdosed. I've
never seen such woman-on-woman abuse at the women's shelters.
Guys too.
And the guys
and girls,
too.
I hear a story about guys too and girls. And
oh no, everybody's getting it.
Everybody's getting it, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a horrible place to be.
But I see for me, and what I also don't understand is, like, I don't think people know. I didn't know this. I always assumed, like, I was never homeless before, but I assumed, which makes an ass out of you and me when you do that, but that a homeless shelter was through donations, and the reason you're there is because you're free. It's free. It's not. They make you sign over your whole check. How are you ever going to get a place if you have no money? They want you to get your whole ODSP if you have ODSP.
Well, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about, because this is what I'm hearing too. This is another thing we're getting into a little bit more.
Yeah.
But it's literally, I'm understanding that too from other people, that they're only supposed to take a certain amount off your check, and then they're taking over that. And then I'm hearing back from other women that they're just taking their whole checks.
$1,100 they wanted everybody to sign over when we were at the homeless shelter, and there was what? 9 people in a room.
So they didn't want so they wanted everything signed over, not just what for the room and board or for your rent
Yeah.
which is all they
They're-
should be taking.
Yeah, the street allowance.
yeah.
The basic.
Yeah, but they don't. They wanted to, and everybody was. I couldn't believe that, but they couldn't do it to me because I get CPP.
Yeah, but you
So
said
I-
you told me that they wanted you to sign over your
They
CPP
wanted
too.
me to, and I refused. What's the point of being here? So I can eat leftover sandwiches and be treated like a dog, like I'm in jail? And you want me to give me all my money from CPP?
Yeah, that's
How
what
am,
they
I
want.
supposed
That's
to,
what-
how am I supposed to find a place if I have no money?
But if you guys, if they're taking all their money, where do you get your money from to go buy anything on the streets?
They
You're
want
told-
me to steal, so they want to dispose of everybody. Is what they're
Of
doing.
course. Well, they want you to be a criminal.
Yeah.
You know. But me, I always find a way to eat. I always find a way to, to survive, to go shopping.
You know
cheap
what?
stuff. Giant Tiger, Walmart.
Unfortunately, she's known the streets a lot longer than me.
Well,
so
up
she
to 20
knows
years.
that.
Yeah.
But I was in shock, and I would sit there. I've seen the boss, Jackie, at the woman's shelter. Okay,
Because we need. I know this is getting long, but I know we need to talk about Jackie here.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut it off right now, and I'm going to restart it again because it's easier to do smaller clips. So I'm going to stop it, and I'll start on a smaller clip, and I want to talk about that issue. Okay, next. So just give me a minute here.